a flame inside him. There was a spark in his life, and from that came the spirit of giving. I believe that perhaps that small incident in Vivekananda's life left an impression on me too. The thought of what can I give to the world? Maybe true contentment comes from giving. If my heart is only filled with the hunger to receive, that hunger will never end. And within that realization came the idea of Shiva and living being as one. If you wish to serve Shiva, serve all living beings. Recognize the unity between the divine and the living. True non-duality is experienced through this realization. I would often lose myself in such thoughts, my mind naturally drifting in that direction. I remember an incident in the neighborhood where we lived. Just outside, there was a Lord Shiva temple. One day a saint came to stay there. So that saint used to engage in meditation and spiritual practices. I started feeling drawn to him, thinking perhaps he possessed some spiritual energy. I had only read about Swami Vivekananda, never seen such figures in real life. During Navratri, he was fasting, and he had placed sorghum grains on his hand, a common tradition in our culture. In a way, sprouting seeds on your palms and sleeping like that for 9 or 10 days. It was a kind of spiritual vow, and this saint was observing it. During those same days, my maternal uncle's family was preparing for my aunt's wedding. Everyone from my home was going to my uncle's house for the wedding. Now, for any child, visiting an uncle's house is always exciting. But I told my family, I'm not going, I'll stay here. And I will take care of Swamiji. Since he has these grains on his hand, he can't eat or drink. So I will take care of him. So as a child, I chose not to attend the wedding. I stayed back, serving Swamiji instead. Somehow my mind was naturally drawn in that direction. At times, whenever soldiers from my village came home during their holidays, they would walk around in their uniforms with such pride. I would run behind them all day thinking, look at them. They are serving the nation. So there was always a strong feeling inside me to do something meaningful. I didn't fully understand what it would be, and I didn't have a roadmap. There was a hunger within me, a deep longing to understand life, to explore its meaning. So I just set out and began the journey. During my time in the mission, I came across remarkable saints. They showered me with love and blessings. Among them, I formed a special bond with Swami Atmasthananji. He lived for nearly 100 years, a life full of wisdom and service. In his final years, I deeply wished for him to stay with me at the Prime Minister's residence. But his responsibilities were vast and he couldn't come. However, back when I was Chief Minister, he used to visit, and I was fortunate to receive his blessings and guidance. He once looked at me and said, "Why have you come here? You have a greater purpose to fulfill. Is your priority your own well-being, or is it the welfare of society?" Whatever Swami Vivekananda said was for the betterment of society. He said you are meant to serve others. So I remember feeling a bit disheartened at that moment. I had come seeking guidance, but all I got were words. So I continued on my journey, wandering from place to place. I spent time in the Himalayas, embracing the solitude of the mountains. I met many remarkable individuals along the way. Some were great ascetics, people who had renounced everything. But still, my mind remained restless. Perhaps it was my age of curiosity, of wanting to learn, to understand. It was a new experience, a world shaped by the mountains, by ice, by the towering snow covered peaks. But all of this played a huge role in shaping me. It strengthened me from within and enabled me to discover my inner power. Practicing meditation, waking up in the sacred pre dawn hours, bathing in the cold, serving people with devotion, and naturally tending to elderly saints became a seamless part of who I was. Once a natural calamity struck the region, and I immediately devoted myself to helping the villagers. So these were the saints and spiritual masters with whom I stayed from time to time. I never remained in one place for long. I kept moving, constantly wandering. That was the kind of life I lived.
And for people who don't know, that moment in the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram with the monk Swami Padmashananda, as you mentioned, he helped steer you towards a life of service. So there's another possible life that could have been where you take sannyasa, you give away everything, and you're a monk. So we could have had a monk Narendra Modi and a Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he helped you take the decision to live a life of service at every scale.
From the outside, people may call me a leader. Some call me the prime minister. Others call me the chief minister. And that's how they see me from their perspective. But deep within, there is only an unwavering spiritual commitment. The Modi, who lovingly helped his mother care for children during their treatments, tending to them with patience and compassion. The Modi, who wandered through the Himalayas, and the Modi who now works from this seat of responsibility, they are all tied together by the same inner consistency. Every action is dedicated to serving others. People may see a stark difference between a saint and a leader, but to me, there is no real difference. Yes, the attire changes, the way of life changes, the words spoken throughout the day shift, and the nature of work evolves. But the core of my being remains unchanged, carrying out every responsibility with the same sense of calm, focus, and dedication.
Another part of your life, of who you are, is you've spoken your whole life about putting your nation of India above all else. When you were 8, you joined the RSS, which espouses the idea of Hindu nationalism. Can you tell me about RSS and what impact they had on who you are and the development of your political ideas?
Ever since childhood, I always had the habit of staying engaged in something or the other. I remember there was a man named Makoshi. I don't quite recall his full name. I think he was part of the service group, Makoshi Soni or something like that. He used to carry a small drum-like instrument called a tambourine with him. And he used to sing patriotic songs in his deep, powerful voice. Whenever he came to our village, he would hold programs in different places. I would run after him like a crazy fan just to listen to his songs. I would spend entire nights listening to their patriotic songs. I enjoyed it. I don't even know why, but I just did. In our village, there was a branch of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh where we played sports and sang patriotic songs. Something about those songs touched me deeply. They stirred something inside me. And that's how I eventually became part of the RSS. One of the core values that were instilled in us at RSS was whatever you do, do it with a purpose. Even while studying, study with the goal of learning enough to contribute to the nation. Even when you exercise, do it with the purpose of strengthening your body to serve the nation. This is what we were taught. And today, RSS is a massive organization. It is now nearing its 100th anniversary. Such a massive volunteer organization likely doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Millions of people are connected to it. But understanding RSS is not that simple. one must make an effort to truly grasp the nature of its work. More than anything, the RSS provides you with a clear direction toward what can truly be called a purpose in life. Secondly, the nation is everything, and serving the people is akin to serving God. This is what has been said since the Vedic era, what our sages have said, what Vivekananda said, and what the RSS echoes. A volunteer is told that the inspiration he gains from RSS, it's not just about attending the 1 hour session or wearing the uniform. What matters is what you do for society. And today, inspired by that spirit, many initiatives are thriving. Like some volunteers established an organization called Seva Bharti. This organization serves the slums and settlements where the poorest people live, which they call service communities. To my knowledge, they run approximately 125,000 service projects without any government assistance, solely through community support. They spend time there, teach the children, care for their health, instill good values, and work towards improving cleanliness in these communities. Running 125,000 social service projects is no small feat. Similarly, some volunteers, nurtured by RSS, are dedicated to serving tribal communities through Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram. They live among the tribal people, working for their welfare. They have established over 70,000 one-teacher schools in remote tribal regions. There are also some people in America who show their support for this cause and contribute donations of about $10 or $15. And they say, skip a Coca-Cola this month, don't drink Coca-Cola, and donate that money to an one-teacher school instead. Now imagine 70,000 one-teacher schools dedicated to educating tribal children. Some volunteers have founded Vidya Bharati to revolutionize education. Today, they run nearly 25,000 schools, educating around 3 million students. And I believe that millions of students have benefited from this initiative, receiving quality education at an incredibly low cost. Alongside education, values are prioritized and students remain grounded, learning skills so they don't become a burden on society. That is, in every aspect of life, whether it's women, youth, or even laborers, the RSS has played a role. In terms of membership size, if I may say so, we have the Indian Labor Union. It has around 50,000 unions with millions of members across the country. Perhaps in terms of scale, there is no bigger labor union in the world. But what's interesting is the approach they take. Historically, leftist ideologies have fueled labor movements worldwide. And what has been their slogan? Workers of the world, unite. The message was clear: unite first, and then we'll deal with everything else. But what do the labor unions run by RSS trained volunteers believe in? They say, workers unite the world. Others say, workers of the world unite, and we say, workers unite the world. It may seem like just a small shift in words, but it represents a huge ideological transformation. The volunteers who come from the RSS follow their own interests, nature, and inclination. And in doing so, they strengthen and promote these kinds of activities. When you observe these initiatives, you'll see how, over the past 100 years, the RSS has dedicated itself with the discipline and devotion of a seeker, staying away from the glare of mainstream attention. I feel blessed to gain life's values from such a sacred organization.